This is our first video of the year. Again, happy to report that we did 21.3% last year. And thus far this year, we're up well over 3% now. So I'm very, very happy with what the portfolio is doing. I got to admit, right now, what is going on in the world is just incredible. With the Trump victory, he has moved since January 2nd so quickly to implement his policies. And the truth be told, nobody really knows what his policies are. Initially, he started with tariffs against Canada and Mexico. And in a very short time, he was able to get Canada and Mexico to acquiesce to his demands of better border patrol, cracking down on fentanyl, etc. So he's really flexing his muscles and showing that he is going to use the weight of the American government and the American economy to change things. Now, tariffs appear to be Trump's attack plan or weapon of choice. And normally tariffs are thought of as very, very bad things, as it creates incredible costs and incredible hardships on consumers. So specifically, I think what Trump is trying to do is to rebuild the U.S. economy, move away from globalism more to a mercantile approach where America, he says, is no longer going to be the dumping ground for consumer products, but America is once again going to start manufacturing things. So this is a massive change in what is going on. Now, whether Trump persists on the tariffs or not remains to be seen. So it's very hard to draw conclusions immediately, but I think he will continue to use them as leverage. The problem, again, with tariffs is if he brings tariffs into the U.S., the cost for U.S. consumers go up considerably, and it's very, very damaging to other countries, Canada included. And I have to admit, I feel a bit sorry for our politicians who have been caught blindsided by this and don't really know what to do because we've never seen this before. Ultimately, I think Trump is trying to, as I mentioned, strengthen the U.S. economy's industrial base again. And with the revenue he takes in from tariffs, it's quite possible he may want to do a tax cut for U.S. citizens, which would, in essence, be a good thing. But he's going to have a really, really tough time with the deficit. Now, he's brought in Musk and others to try to cut costs tremendously in government programs, but as we sit, the U.S. economy and the global economy are still not in good shape. Currently, both gold and silver are up sharply this year. And in short, what we are seeing is a global reset. Trump has effectively said that he is repatriating U.S. gold back to the U.S. And we've seen this through recently a delivery report of, I think, 400 to 450 tons of gold that need to be delivered from London back to the U.S. And what we've seen is a problem with delivery as there's not enough gold for the huge demand that has come through the COMEX, where these contracts, instead of settling up in cash, are demanding the physical gold. So this is just a continuation of what we've seen, where the world in the globalist structure is no longer going to be the case. And all countries, and now including the U.S., are bringing their gold home because effectively gold has always been used for international transactions. I heard a very good quote from Vince Lanci, a gold trader who I listen to his podcast daily, said that for 2 generations, the government and the media have been very, very good at taking gold out of the equation, where a lot of people don't really understand what gold is or what its historical practices or its historical relevance was. And as we go forward, I believe the U.S. and all countries are repatriating their gold so that they can use it going forward. And I think this trend is going to continue. Now, this is a reset, much like 1934, where FDR confiscated gold and revalued it so that the U.S. dollar dropped 40% against gold, or Nixon going off the gold backing. With this massive amount of gold being repatriated to the U.S., it is resetting the stage going forward. So as this takes place, I think what governments and central banks are looking to do around the world is to increase the amount of gold they have on the balance sheet, reduce their U.S. Treasury bills and Treasury bonds, which is a problem for the U.S. Treasury as they have to issue, I believe, anywhere from $7 to $9 trillion of bonds this year. There's 7 to 9 trillion of bonds coming due this year in the U.S. So what I think they're trying to do is repatriate the gold, not go back to the gold standard. But one thing what we have seen is Judy Shelton wrote a book recently, and Trump nominated her in his first term for Secretary of the Federal Reserve. And she did not pass the approval process. But she wrote a book where she's recommending that the U.S. issue gold-backed bonds. Again, not necessarily going back to a gold standard, but using gold in the process of finance.